Hi everybody, today I'm going to fit a mainspring using one of these mainspring winders made by Bergeon. This is a 17 barrel set. You can get these in 7 barrel sets, and you can get special barrels as well for certain calibers, Rolex and ETA. The reason why you'd want to use one of these is they reduce the risk of kinking or damaging the mainspring. The alternative is to wind them in by hand, which is less attractive. You run the risk of damaging the mainspring either by kinking it or snapping the mainspring. And so using these mainspring winders obviously is very advantageous. Not so good with the old-fashioned blue steel mainsprings, but for the modern alloy or shall we say unbreakable mainsprings, they really come into their own. A fantastic piece of kit and well worth learning how to use. If you haven't got one of these sets, then it's well worth looking on eBay for anything that might come up. They are on there every now and then. You might be able to pick up a decent 17 barrel set for a few £100. A 7 barrel set, you may be able to pick one up for about £150. So yeah, they're around and well worth the investment. So essentially the tool is made up of 3 separate components, with the winding handle, the main handle on the right here, and the individual barrels. We choose the size of the barrel depending on the size of the actual watch barrel. This particular one is an automatic barrel, a barrel that houses an automatic mainspring to be precise, and so I've lubricated the inside of the barrel walls with a grease to allow the mainspring to slip. This is the mainspring that we're going to install, and so we'll choose the correct size barrel, which just entails literally picking out the barrels and measuring them up against the watch barrel itself until we find one that we're happy with. And this one looks perfect. And so now we've chosen the perfect size, we're going to assemble the mainspring winder. Just involves placing the barrel into the handle and twisting to lock it into place. Now there are mainsprings that wind to the left and to the right, and so you get left and right-handed handles here, the blue ones and the red ones. If you buy the standard set, all of them will be left-handed, and so the red ones will be the prevalent. This is one of the advantages to getting the full kit. Many Chinese and Japanese watch movements, amongst many others, will utilize the blue ones, so it's well worth getting the full kit. In this case we're going to use the orange because it's a standard left-handed mainspring as used in most Swiss watch movements. And so now we've chosen the correct winding handle, we need to place the mainspring onto the winding handle, making note of the direction of the hook, and we just put the mainspring over the hook and press down until the hole on the mainspring engages with the hook. I'm using a pair of brass tweezers here so as to help to prevent any damage to the mainspring, as it's very brittle. And so engage the winding handle with the actual main tool, and it's a simple case of just winding it in slowly and carefully. At some point the end of the mainspring might catch like it just did. Just ease it out of the way. It's a good idea to wear finger cots when you're doing this. As you can see, I'm wearing finger cots on my left hand, so we don't want to leave any residue oil from our fingertips on the mainspring, thus staining it. Once it's in fully, be very careful, just wind it back a few until you feel the resistance go, and that's it, it's done. So the trickiest part is actually taking the handle away from the mainspring, which is now in the actual barrel. Lifting it away very, very carefully, because if you're not careful, the mainspring will just fly across the room. This is actually the trickiest part of the whole job. But once you've unhooked the mainspring from the hook on the handle, you can slide the handle out, and you'll be left with the mainspring in the barrel, ready to insert into the watch barrel. Great, so now we're ready to insert the mainspring. And so we place the tool into the barrel, the mainspring barrel, and we depress the plunger at the top of the tool until the mainspring pops into place, and it's as simple as that. And we've put the mainspring into the barrel with minimal risk of damage, and we're ready to put the barrel arbor and the lid of the barrel back in place for assembly back into the watch.